now, man. I'm telling you, this is so indefensible. Either the Republicans need to reposition themselves as the pro-pedophilia party, which some will do, like Megyn Kelly and you know, even Nick Fuentes to a certain degree did that until he dropped it and is now in opposition to it, or they're like, there's no way out of this. And I think if they position themselves as pro-pedophilia and how pedophilia is actually good and ephebophilia is fine, until or when they do that, when they start trying to do that, they are going to come across as even more repulsive to the MAGA base even. Because the point...
disclose the perpetrators connected with Epstein's criminal activities and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades." To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please note for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologize to the survivors.
None of this will matter? No, you're wrong. I think it's still important to hold this admin to account. This is also part of the reason why I don't mind working with Democrats in general, even if they don't fully agree with me. What are you talking about? The optics of this matters. Argument matters. What are you supposed to do? Not have a hearing? Are you insane? I said it beforehand. And it bears repeating. This is a major fissure in the base. This is a major weak point in the base. So much so that even the Democrats realize that they need to exhaust this talking point. It's also a massive, catastrophic injustice that is taking place. Of course they bring this up. Yeah. The Bondi, Pam Bondi, DOJ, Kash Patel, FBI didn't even meet with the Epstein survivors before concluding Epstein wasn't running a sex trafficking ring. It's psychotic. It's completely unacceptable. It's completely psychotic. Please stop trying to present everything as like as a negative. I know that you have calcified your resistance to libs in general. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. I understand why that's like frustrating for you. But we can't be doing that. Like sometimes they are doing good things. This is one of those instances. They're doing the right thing.
In your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you.
Dude, by the way, Pam Bondi's reaction to this was so crazy. I think that they are not reading the room, I will say, because I watched pieces of this before I went live. And she was so aggressive. Instead of like taking a more reasonable position and being like, here are some of the reasons as to why we did this, all this stuff. It's indefensible to begin with. But they thought they could get away with attack. And it looked like she was, especially because like a lot of people are also, sexist. Let's be real. She looks like a hysterical woman for even the base, right? Like when I see the way she's behaving there, I get mad because I see a person in a profound position of power doing everything to deny victims of sexual assault and sex trafficking as minors their day in court, their justice, their everything that they've advocated for, right? Like she is a hurdle against that at the behest of an international sex trafficking a cabal of pedophilic billionaires. It's insane. The right that also cares about this looks at a hysterical woman on top of that. So I think like the optics are really bad for the right in general, where this, in my opinion, is so indefensible. The way that she attacked back like a rabid dog at anyone and everyone that would try to hold her to account, I think that will backfire. Okay? I think that will backfire. I think that there are already people that are naysayers about Pam Bondi in the base for the Republicans. Because let's be real, position doesn't matter to this administration at all. Like Nick Fuentes as a neo-Nazi has more prominence in the Republican movement than all of us do, right? You can have 75% of the country be like, this sucks, you suck dick, stop doing this, and they won't stop doing it until you got like a person that has like maybe, let's say, 5% of the base of support on the Republican side come out and be like, this is a bridge too far. Then they'll respond. And I do think this issue is the issue where the base is not in line with the party. The base is not in line with the politicians. The base is not in line with Donald Trump. So her keeping up this like really aggressive posture when even people like Pramila Jayapal are actually representing the wishes of the Republican base is a major misstep. Do you see what I mean? Because when she's yelling like that, a Republican MAGA voter that watches this congressional hearing, if they watch it at all, are not going to read this as Pam Bondi yelling at a woke libtard. Because that woke libtard in that moment is actually asking questions that the MAGA voter also has. So now it's going to, for them, it's going to look like she's yelling at the base, right? There is no political polarization you can lean into in this issue, okay? There will be some in the cult that will say, oh, Pam Bondi is an attack dog. I really love that, right? Yeah, sure, surely. But what matters most is how many of the MAGA base that you can chip away. How indefensible this looks. This already happened with Donald Trump. There's a reason why this is the issue that has the highest salience. This is the issue that has caused the most divergence between Donald Trump and the people that love him and demonstrate cult-like loyalty. And that's partially because Donald Trump has said over and over again that if you care about the Epstein files, you're a Democrat, it's a Democrat conspiracy, all of this stuff. And that caused people to go, wait a minute, I care about the Epstein stuff, and I voted for you 3 times. So when Pam Bondi, who has already fallen out of favor with the base of support, comes out and yells like this at people who are asking very reasonable questions about the lack of transparency that we've gotten, even though we've demanded from the Epstein files and why they are presenting major hurdles in these revelations and protecting elite billionaire pedophiles, it makes Republicans feel like Pam Bondi is yelling at them too.
Taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't
It
like
is
the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't
a
she ask
question.
Merrick Garland this twice?
I am
when
reclaiming
he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair?
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my
gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say this.
I'll direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not going to get in
interrupting.
the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Elaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up, and I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize
The chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
Time of the gentlelady.
What is this? To his baby ranch. Worst thing I've seen. Jeffrey's asking if you could FedEx the painting he made of the massacre of the innocents of the ranch. It's large 9x9 canvas that we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway. They are killing babies. He wants us to use it on the ranch. Yeah, I mean that's pretty freaky. I don't know. I feel like it implies what we know about already, which is Zora Ranch is a baby making operation through coercion, through force. By the way.
May I respond?
Anyway, Massey and Bondi have a shocking fight as he accuses her of the Epstein files cover-up as well. Incredible picture of the room that proves your point. Yeah. Epstein survivors raised their hands to signal that they've been ignored by Trump's DOJ, and AG Pam Bondi refused to look at them. 69,000 likes. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you. This is so indefensible. Either the Republicans need to reposition themselves as the pro-pedophilia party, which some will do, like Megyn Kelly and you know, even Nick Fuentes to a certain degree did that until he dropped it and is now in opposition to it, or they're like, there's no way out of this. And I think if they position themselves as pro-pedophilia and how pedophilia is actually good and ephebophilia is fine, until or when they do that. When they start trying to do that, they are going to come across as even more repulsive to the MAGA base even. Because the point here is to wither away Trump's base of support from that 20% that is impossible to shake off Donald Trump to a 10% that is ultimately meaningless, right? That's the point here. Now, of course, the Democrats will do everything in their power to even lose that 10% of cult-like fealty, but you know, that's besides the point. We're not talking about the Democrats right now. We're talking about the Republicans, right? Because a lot of people don't understand. They think like, oh, well, Trump always has that 20 to 30%, 20 to 30%. Okay, well, that 30% that used to be unshakable, I think has withered away a little bit. Now we're in the 20 to 30% range. If it goes from 30% to 20%, tomorrow it could go to 10%. Okay? Trump, I assume, if Pam Bondi keeps doing this and steps on these landmines, will probably offer her up as red meat to the base to be like, see, we're listening, we're hearing you. I think that's what's going on here.
Very briefly to her statement.
Well, I think we can do that
Okay.
probably on one of our members' time.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, or sorry, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victim's survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted.
Indefensible. By the way, much respect to Thomas Massie, who is like a total freak on so many other issues, but on this one, that's my GOAT. Like I said, I'll work with anybody and everybody that will try to fucking put a dent in the armor of the international billionaire pedophilic cabal. Thomas Massie has been doing that. He's also a consistent advocate for Palestinians as well, uncompromising, you know, which these two issues are tied to one another. Let's be real, right? It's not an accident that Jeffrey Epstein was so closely associated with the Israeli government. So, you know, we're rocking with Thomas Massie on this one. Respect.
And by the way,
what things you don't like about him? Dog, Thomas Massie is... You're baiting me and cooking him right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to eat the bait. That's my GOAT. That's my GOAT. He's great. He's fantastic. What do you mean? He's like... Chatter. He is a giga libertarian who also happens to be super pro ICE, which is inconsistent with being a libertarian, but that's besides the point. We're not doing it right now. He's my GOAT right now in this moment.
Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have.
Thomas Massie is a libertarian who applies non-aggression principle to minors. Okay? That's it. Most libertarians don't do that. That's the reason why he's going so hard on both Israel and also on the Epstein stuff. Most libertarians forget to apply non-aggression principle to minors. He doesn't do that. Okay? So he's anti-diddling children.
Is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times about...
Look at the reaction to Tom Massie, by the way, versus the reaction to like Pramila Jayapal.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer.
He's a white guy. Of course you like this? No. It's because he's a Republican. And this was the entire thing, by the way. Can I finish my answer? Can I finish my answer? That's all she did. All she did was whine. All she did was yell and yell and yell. And I'm telling you right now, it don't look good at all, brother. It does not look good to anybody that pays attention to it.
We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He
It's-
was,
Mr.
this
Chairman,
isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman,
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
all right,
Kentucky.
I'm reclaiming my
Can
time.
I give my answer?
So,
Yes.
There is the irony is not lost on me that this conversation is taking place, or rather being moderated by Jim Jordan, okay, who is notorious for a sex abuse cover-up, okay? Sex abuse at the Jim Jordan is the one who is also moderating this conversation. He's chairing the committee and has complete command over which way this conversation goes about sex abuse cover-up by the administration. He's like, this is I'm locked and loaded. This is like what my career has been gearing towards.